Merry Christmas, everyone, and welcome to Cinematic Excrement. I hope you're enjoying yourselves this holiday season and are spending some quality time with people you care about. And even if you're unfortunate enough to spend the holiday with people you don't particularly like, at least you can take comfort in the fact that you're not spending Christmas with the Kranks.
Oh man, I got a lot of requests for this one. This holiday train wreck stars Tim Allen and Jamie Lee Curtis as Luther and Nora Krank, a couple who decide one year to skip Christmas and all the insanity that goes with it, and spend the holiday on a Caribbean cruise. But they soon discover skipping the holiday is not as easy as they thought, and wacky hijinks ensue. Christmas with the Kranks is actually based on a book called Skipping Christmas by John Grisham. Yes, that John Grisham. I can't comment on the book as I haven't read it, but critical opinion appears to be somewhat mixed, which is more than I can say for the film adaptation. While it did manage to score a modest profit at the box office, it was not well received by critics and has a 5% rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Clearly, this film did not fill the critics with the holiday spirit. Let's find out why.
Our story begins with the aforementioned Luther and Nora Krank, who are bringing their daughter Blair to the airport. We learned that Blair recently joined the Peace Corps and they are shipping her off to Peru for a year, which means for the first time ever she will be spending Christmas away from home. On the way home from the airport, they stop to pick up a few things from the store.
I didn't bring the umbrella.
Oh, I need that stuff from Chips.
I didn't bring the umbrella.
Well, I still need it.
It's gonna have to wait.
Oh, sack up and go out in the rain, you pansy. You're only going across the street.
And eventually, that's exactly what he does. And he just narrowly avoids stepping in a pothole. Gee, I wonder if this will lead to a car driving by and splashing water on him. Oh, what are the odds? As he makes his way to the shop, he passes a guy dressed in a Santa suit selling umbrellas. Make a note of that, will you? He also passes by an advertisement for Carnival Cruise Lines, and this gives him an idea. After crunching some numbers at the office the next day, he comes up with a plan and presents it to his wife at dinner.
We spent $6,100 on Christmas last year.
$6,100? On what? Seriously, how was that even possible? I could buy everyone in my family a PS4 and not spend that much.
So instead of spending all that money on God knows what and having little to show for it, Luther proposes he and his wife skip Christmas this year and go on a Caribbean cruise, which will only cost $3,000.
Well, we can still give our charitable donations to Children's Hospital and of course, the church.
No, this is a total boycott, honey. Total.
It's $600, Luther.
It's a total boycott.
Why? You're still saving over $2,000, and why should skipping Christmas prevent you from giving to charity?
Well, it doesn't really matter, because when Nora puts her foot down, Luther caves in the very next scene and agrees to match last year's charitable donations.
That was pointless.
The next day, we see Luther printing up a letter, on official company letterhead no less, which he proceeds to pass out to everyone in the office, announcing he and his wife are skipping Christmas this year. Why the hell would you do that? Call me crazy, but this really doesn't sound like something you need to announce publicly to everyone you know. And even if it was, I'd think a simple email would suffice. Nora, on the other hand, tries to be discreet about the whole thing, but she is eventually forced to tell her friends that she and Luther won't be sending any Christmas cards or throwing their usual Christmas Eve party this year. Her friends are shocked and appalled by this, and apparently so is everyone in this entire restaurant. That's interesting. But things really get interesting the next day when some local Boy Scouts show up to sell the Kranks a Christmas tree. Luther tells them they don't need a tree since they're going on vacation for Christmas, and they storm off in disgust. Okay, what the hell is going on here? Why is everyone acting like the world is going to end just because these two people aren't going to celebrate Christmas? Lots of people don't celebrate Christmas, and lots of people go on vacation during Christmas. This is really not that weird. A moment later, the Boy Scouts are seen talking to Vic Frohmeyer, played by Dan Aykroyd, who Nora describes as the unelected war boss of the neighborhood. And he is not pleased.
Somehow it just doesn't seem right.
Well, that's really not up to you to decide, is it?
But I gotta tell you, a lot of the neighbors are pretty upset.
Really?
Why? Why should the neighbors give a flying reindeer?
Christmas has always been a neighborhood thing around here, you know that.
Yeah.
Everybody decorates, Everybody bakes cookies and swaps gifts.
Basically, what I'm trying to say, Mr. Crank, is conform!
Sweet baby Jesus, what is wrong with this guy? If the Kranks don't want to decorate their house, that's none of your fucking business. But apparently Vic doesn't agree as he hands Luther a demand letter, a flyer, reminding the neighborhood that it's time to put up their Frosty the Snowman statues.
Tell you what, truth is, if I'm gone, I'm...
Vic?
So is Vic a ninja, or... I don't get it. What's the joke?
The next morning, the entire goddamn neighborhood shows up demanding the Kranks put up Frosty. Okay, I get that this is supposed to be a comedy, but they're really pushing it here. No one is going to get this obsessed over someone not putting up a fucking snowman statue. And nothing about this is funny. Quite frankly, I find it pretty disturbing. In a panic, Nora calls Luther and asks what she should do. How about you call the police and tell them to get these trespassers off your goddamn lawn? Or is that idea just too rational for you?
You and Luther do not have to do anything. Just leave Frosty on the front porch. We'll put him up for you.
Okay, I still don't get their obsession with this stupid plastic snowman, but at least they've offered what sounds like a fair compromise. But for some inane reason, Luther still insists Nora not give them Frosty. I thought the whole point of skipping Christmas was to save money. Putting up decorations you already have doesn't cost anything but time. And if the neighborhood is willing to do it for you, it doesn't even cost that. So what's your problem? Since Nora doesn't want to deal with the neighbors, can't say I blame her, Luther suggests she get in her car and leave. But she doesn't get far before Frohmeyer rears his ugly, balding head.
Nora? Nora, stop the car. Stop the car. Please, listen. Hey, don't do anything you'll regret.
My God, Nora, you are perfectly justified in calling the police at this point. This is harassment, plain and simple. And why are they doing this? I see plenty of houses in my neighborhood without Christmas decorations, and I don't see people banging down the door demanding they put up decorations. You know why? Because that would be stupid. Nora meets her husband for lunch, who has a big surprise for her. He's purchased a round of sessions at a tanning salon for the two of them. And of course, the girl behind the counter is a disgusting shade of brown. Get it? Because she works in a tanning salon, and she's clearly spent way too much time in the tanning booth. Isn't that hilarious? Why aren't you laughing? Laugh, damn it! Laugh!
Why would we get a tan before the cruise? I thought the whole point was to get a tan during the cruise.
Look at our skin. We kind of look like uncooked chicken.
You look like a corpse.
I assure you, Tim Allen is not a corpse, though his career might be.
While Nora's getting a tan, some random jackass accidentally walks in on her, which causes her to bump her head. The idiot then apologizes and walks away muttering to himself, and is never seen again.
This is bad comedy.
Of course, this is just an excuse for Nora to stumble out to the front desk where she and Luther can run into even more people who are entirely too concerned with the fact that the Kranks are skipping Christmas, including their priest. Hey, Father, does the phrase, "judge not lest ye be judged," mean anything to you?
Nora! We've made the front page.
I'm sorry, what was that?
We've made the front page.
The front page? You are telling me, this was made back when newspapers were still relevant, by the way. You are telling me that two people not decorating their house and going on vacation for Christmas is front page news in this ass-backwards town?
Okay, first, what? Second, the f***?
My God, this is beyond ridiculous. Again, I know it's a comedy, but as I have said before, suspension of disbelief only goes so far. But that's not going to stop this movie from pushing it even farther. That evening, two police officers, played by Cheech Marin and Jake Busey, are going door to door selling calendars for charity. And since the Kranks evidently buy one every year, they expect he'll do the same this year. However...
We don't need a calendar this year.
Are you shitting me? This man is so dead set on skipping Christmas that he won't even give a small charitable donation for a calendar? Even after saying earlier that he would match last year's charitable donations? Word of Luther's lack of charity soon gets around, and when some carolers drive into town, their neighbor across the street, Walt, played by M. Emmett Walsh, encourages them to spread some holiday cheer to the Kranks. Pretty soon, the entire neighborhood joins in, completely surrounding the house and forcing the Kranks to hide in the basement. And it would be easy to sympathize with the Kranks since they are being harassed and terrorized by these people for the heinous crime of not celebrating Christmas, if Luther would just stop acting like a crazy person with some irrational fear of the holiday. I can understand wanting to save money and avoid the rampant commercialism that's far too common around Christmas time, but why does that prevent you from putting up decorations that you already own, sending out a few Christmas cards, or donating to charity? What is your deal, Luther? Did Christmas slaughter your family? Should I be asking where on the doll did Christmas touch you? What is your major malfunction?
Can we just nuke the entire neighborhood and let God sort the dead?
So now it's Christmas Eve, and Good King Wenceslas, what is that? Luther informs his terrified wife and the likewise terrified audience that he went and got himself some Botox injections, and though he doesn't mention it, it looks like he also had his teeth whitened. A short scene featured in the trailer, but cut from the movie for some reason, would appear to confirm this. Combine that with the obviously fake tan, and he now looks like an evil Ken doll. Now this might be worth putting on the front page. And he's having trouble eating because of the Botox. Pretty sure it doesn't work that way. I suppose it's possible the original joke was that he had an anesthetic injection during the dental work, and he can't eat properly because his mouth is still numb, but since that scene was cut from the movie, this makes no sense.
And why is he having all this crap done to him? I thought the entire point of skipping Christmas was to save money.
Later that day, his face does straighten itself out, but then the movie drops its big bombshell. The Kranks suddenly get a phone call from Blair, who shocks her parents with news that she is not, in fact, in Peru. She is now in Miami and is on her way home for Christmas with her new fiancé, and they'll be there in just a few hours. Naturally, she assumes her parents have set up the tree and other decorations and are still having their usual Christmas Eve party. The logical thing for the Kranks to do would be to just be honest and tell Blair they made other plans, since they assumed she wouldn't be home. But they haven't done anything logical so far in this movie. Why would they start now? So of course Nora tells Blair they're still having the party and orders Luther to go find a tree and put up Frosty.
We are going to perform a little Christmas miracle, and if we pull it off, Blairy is never going to know about your stupid, ridiculous, childish scheme of skipping Christmas.
Oh, fuck off!
Stupid, ridiculous, childish scheme? Up until 30 seconds ago, you were quite ready to go along with that scheme. So what does that say about you, you stupid cow? And why are you so desperate to throw away your vacation plans just to save Christmas for your daughter? I could understand if she was still a child. Hell, I could kind of understand if she was still in college. But she's a grown woman in her mid-20s. Just tell her you made other plans and you can still spend some time together on Christmas Eve, but you're leaving the next day and she'll have to take care of herself. She should be able to handle this like a mature adult. Then again, this town does seem to be lacking in the mature adult department. Maybe there's something in the water.
You know what the real bitch is? The entire premise of this movie is the Kranks trying to skip Christmas. But thanks to Blair's sudden homecoming, that has pretty much been resolved. So you'd think we'd be almost done with this movie. But we're only halfway through. I wish I was kidding.
So now Luther needs a tree, and he heads to the Boy Scouts Christmas tree lot to pick one up. They only have one left, and it looks like something even Charlie Brown would reject, but Luther says he'll take it because he's stupid.
How much is it?
$75.
It says 15 right there.
Yeah, supply and demand.
Luther, just go to another lot. And if they don't have a decent tree either, just get a plastic one.
But of course, Luther wastes $75 on the tree, takes it home, and promptly throws the worthless thing away. Again, because he's stupid. May I remind you once again, his plan this holiday season was to save money. Luther then spots one of his neighbors packing the car and, after chatting him up, finds out he and his family are going to visit the in-laws for Christmas. So he asks if he can borrow their tree since they won't need it for the next couple of days. For some reason, the neighbor agrees, and Luther enlists the help of Vic Frohmeyer's son, Spike.
You break one ornament, we're both dead.
I will leave it just like I found it.
And broken ornament in 3, 2, 1.
Spike!
That's invaluable.
Yeah? What's it say on there?
Baby's first Christmas.
Perfect!
This movie is stupid.
While they're messing with the tree, one of the neighbors spies on them with binoculars. Creepy. And as they wheel the tree across the street, the cops show up and it just happens to be the same two cops from earlier. Oh, how goddamn convenient. When they arrive, Spike suddenly vanishes into thin air. I guess that trick runs in the family. The cops, of course, don't believe that Luther's neighbor loaned him the tree and arrest him. But then Spike reappears and confirms that Luther did not burglarize the home, and they let him go.
Well, why didn't you just tell them that in the first place instead of doing your disappearing act and wasting everybody's time, you little shit?
Meanwhile, Nora heads to a local supermarket to pick up a Hickory Honey Ham since it's Blair's favorite. She spots the last one on the shelf, but so does another shopper and the race is on. Is it just me, or is this scene ripping off Jingle All the Way? And that raises another question. Why would anyone want to rip off Jingle All the Way? Unfortunately, Nora crashes and burns, but she does spot another shopper with a ham in the checkout line and offers to buy it off of him. For God's sake, Nora, just go to another supermarket. And if that fails, buy something else for dinner. I'm sure Blair, who I remind you is a grown-ass woman, will survive one Christmas without her precious fucking ham. Nora somehow convinces the shopper to sell her the ham, but she loses it in the parking lot and it gets run over by a truck.
Well, that scene accomplished nothing, apart from killing another 5 minutes of runtime. Let's see how Luther's getting on.
Ah, looks like he's finally putting up Frosty. Not sure why he waited until nightfall to do it. By the way, the noose is actually kind of funny. But I'm not sure how he's supposed to actually mount that thing on the roof. It has a flat base and the roof is slanted. Clearly his roof is going to need some work before he can mount that snowman. A bit of home improvement, if you will.
It's a Tim Allen movie. I had to work that in somewhere.
Vic Frohmeyer then, okay, what the hell is up with these people spying on each other with binoculars? I swear, I have never seen a larger group of people in more desperate need of a hobby. Luther eventually loses his balance and he and Frosty take a tumble off the roof. Frosty shatters on impact, but Luther is saved by the rope in a hilariously awful digital effect. The emergency services gently cut him down. And upon learning that Blair is coming home, the entire neighborhood agrees to come together and put on a Christmas party for the Kranks, even though they all think Luther is a selfish jerk.
Why should the daughter pay for the sins of the father?
So skipping Christmas is a sin now? Vic, I think millions of Jews, Muslims, and Buddhists around the world would like a word with you.
Vic tells everyone to go home and grab all the food they can for the party, and he also tells officers Cheech and Jake, who seem to be the only two police officers in the entire town, to go pick up Blair at the airport.
I don't know if we could do that.
Shall I call the chief?
Go ahead. I'm sure he'll tell you his officers have better things to do than play chauffeur. Oh, wait. No, he probably won't, because everyone in this town is a fucking moron.
So we get a montage of setting up decorations and food and what have you, and the cops pick up Blair and Enrique at the airport. I'm pretty sure a police officer played by Cheech Marin would know how to spell Enrique. You're trying too hard, movie. But the house isn't quite... Wait, what? Wait, whoa! God, rest ye merry gentlemen, movie. Could you hold still for 5 seconds? As I was trying to say before the movie went all ADD on me, the house isn't quite ready, so Spike contacts Officer Cheech on the police band, which I'm pretty sure is 57 kinds of illegal, and tells them to stall so they can pad the movie's running time to the 90-minute mark. Back at the house, there's this really weird running gag going on involving a party guest named Marty, who appears to know everyone there, even though nobody has a clue who he is. It's a really stupid gag, especially when you consider how disappointing the payoff is, but I'll get to that in a minute. Outside the house, they finally have the decorations set up, so they plug them in and oh, come on! How long can they pad this shit out? Just get on with it!
Yes, get on with it!
And just 1 minute later, they call an electrician and the lights are back on. Slappy, I need you again.
That was pointless.
Thank you. Getting back to the bumbling police officers, they pretend they have to respond to a possible domestic disturbance to stall for even more time. But as luck would have it, they actually do spot a break-in in progress, and Officer Busey manages to tackle the perp.
All right, we got him.
Merry Christmas!
So they finally get to the damn party, the Kranks meet Blair's new fiancé, and everyone seems to be having a great time. Everyone, that is, except for Luther.
You're still moping because you don't get to go on your precious little cruise.
There's still time.
What?
We can still go.
Luther?
Listen to me. Enrique and Blair could stay here, have the house to themselves. We go, and we all have a romantic getaway.
That probably could have been an option had you just been honest with Blair from the beginning. However, if you try to pull that shit now, you'll just look like an asshole. But hey, if the shoe fits.
Nora tells Luther to get stuffed and he goes back to moping. But while he does, he spots Walt and his wife Bev across the street. I didn't mention this before, but there's a minor subplot running through the movie involving these two that pops up every now and then. Bev is suffering from cancer and probably isn't long for this world, so Luther offers them the cruise as a gift so they can have some fun together while they still have time. So I guess skipping Christmas is wrong, unless you're dying and then it's okay? Sure, we'll go with it. Actually, this is a genuinely heartwarming scene, and all the actors play it very well, but at this point it's too little too late. Meanwhile, little Spike finds the burglar sitting in the back of the police car, and he gives the kid a bullshit sob story about how he hasn't eaten in days and he just wants to give his 4 kids a real Christmas this year. Why do I get the feeling Arnold Schwarzenegger is about to show up with a very large power drill?
Actually, if he did, that might almost be enough to save this movie.
Spike buys his story and lets him into the house so he can grab something to eat, but instead he swipes some jewelry and tries to escape. But he doesn't get far as he's clocked in the head by an umbrella-wielding Santa. The same Santa that was selling umbrellas at the beginning of the movie. And it turns out Marty, the mystery guest, is the man beneath the Santa suit. They set this gag up at the beginning of the movie, and this is the payoff. I told you it was stupid. And with that, the movie ends with Frosty coming to life and waving, and Marty's Volkswagen flies through the air, pulled by 8 reindeer?
Are they actually trying to suggest that Marty really is Santa Claus? Wait a minute. Oh my god, I just realized something! I don't care! This movie is awful.
No wonder the critics were so harsh with this one. It's a terrible waste of talented actors, the jokes missed more than they hit, I couldn't figure out who I was supposed to care about since almost every character is an asshole, no one in this movie acts like a real human being, and I was more than a little disturbed by the movie's apparent promotion of conformity. It's pretty much saying if you don't celebrate Christmas, you are a horrible, selfish person. Ironic, considering forcing someone to celebrate the same holiday in the same way you do is pretty fucking selfish. It's a terrible movie with a terrible message, and the people responsible for making it deserve a nice big stocking full of coal.
And that about wraps it up for Christmas with the Kranks, and for 2013. So allow me to wish you all a happy and healthy holiday season, and I will see you all next year when we will finally conclude the My Sister Hates Me trilogy. We've done Ballistic, X vs. Sever, we've done Alone in the Dark, which means the only thing left is Okay, I'll be nice this one time. It's Battlefield Earth. Merry Christmas.
Oh my God! What's wrong with your face?